3 East End businesses were evacuated after a natural gas leak this afternoon. Natural gas was seen blowing out of the ground and the smell spread as far away as a few blocks.
The smell of natural gas wafted over parts of East Regina today. Sask Energy says it happened around 1:30 near Eastgate Drive and Victoria Avenue East after a third-party construction crew damaged a 4-inch line.
As a precaution, China Liang's Buffet, Creekside Pub and a Sask Party campaign office were evacuated.
The line feeds a major housing and business area on the east side of Regina, approximately the size of a town like Wynyard or Fort Capel. We had 2 restaurants that ended up being evacuated because of the line hit. We also had 1 restaurant/pub that was evacuated. The restaurant closest to the line hit were very understanding about being evacuated. They understood the seriousness of it. The pub was a little further away and they weren't happy about it. Obviously they have customers in there that are coming to spend their money there. The fire department was the one that evacuated the businesses, and we did have to evacuate a medical clinic. Many of them are anxious about medical appointments and some may have traveled the distance to be there. So it certainly makes a big impact on people's lives when this happens. Once our technicians are on site, they determine where the line hit is and where the gas is escaping. By the time we get locates in so we don't hit any other facilities and the crews begin excavating, some of it's in pavement, it took this job about 4 or 5 hours just to get these fittings in place to begin stopping the gas. There was also 1 building that was empty that was right in the direct path of the gas blowing. And we struggled to find somebody to get us access to that building. The service techs were able to check through the windows for the combustible gas level with a laser tool that they have. And we found that the gas levels were rising in that building quite high. As a result of that, we had to contact Sask Power to have them come and shut down power to that business.
We were asked by the fire department to shut off the power to a specific business because they were concerned about the gases that were entering into the business. So in order to do it safely and for the safety of our employees and the public, we had to remotely shut the power off. So that shut off the power to about 2,000 different customers who were all residential, hotels, restaurants, nearby small businesses. The power line itself doesn't cause any dangers. It's what the power is feeding. So anything that could be a source of ignition to any gases, we need to shut the power off to make it safe. I've seen cables get hit and the arcing and sparking that's going on underground and the dangers that it would be if somebody contacted that. Frankly, they scare the hell out of me. To hit it with a backhoe or a directional bore or something, you're just taking your life in your hands. You're taking it by chance. You're lucky. And I hate using the word lucky. We gotta stop being lucky. Start finding out what's in the ground before we dig and hit it, so everyone can go home safely.
Notice regarding Regina service disruption. The disruption was the result of a fiber cut caused by a company who was installing a water line. Fiber cuts are dangerous and take many man-hours to repair.
The incident was on a Sunday, and there was a contractor putting in a water line for a new business. They didn't call for locates at that time and decided they were going to get their work done sort of ahead of time. But unfortunately, they did strike one of our fiber optic cables, and it affected thousands of customers, many of them business customers as well. And it lasted pretty much a whole 24-hour period before we got all those people back up. Now, the effect of this is all those businesses could not do any kind of transactions, could not conduct business properly on the Monday. Several thousand telephone customers out, didn't have their 911 service. Of course, everyone's on broadband internet as well now. People couldn't surf the net. Any children that were trying to get their homework done, of course, they couldn't get to their lessons on the internet either. Of course, everyone starts calling in. We start to figure out what's going on, and we find out there's a fiber strike up the road. And we go up there, and I guess the contractor thought he could just bury it, fill in the hole, and no one would notice. It's fiber optic cable. There's no way to splice it back together without doing it properly. So we found the ground disturbance and we dug it up and we found our broken cable there. To fix a fiber optic cable is not your traditional twisting wires, copper wires back together. Fiber optics, of course, is made out of glass. There's hundreds of fibers in one cable. So to splice all this back together takes hours and hours and hours. We're not a member of SAS First Call. We have our own department that deals with locating cables for anybody, whether it's somebody putting in a fence post in the backyard, or someone doing a water main, or in this case, someone putting a new service into a building. This particular excavator had called us numerous times on other digs they were doing. This is going to cost them probably, I would say, 10, 15 times what they were trying to save, at least.
These are clear examples of why planning before you dig is critical to making sure we don't hit any underground infrastructure. Here's just a few of the facts. In 2017, there were more than 11,000 underground line contacts in Canada and 480 in Saskatchewan. 80% caused major service disruptions, and the majority are telecommunications and gas lines.
Nationally, 51% of contacts involved no locate prior to the dig. While BC, Alberta, and Ontario reported the majority of events, the total damages per 100,000 people was highest in BC, followed by Saskatchewan.